The circular flow of money shows how income and spending move through an economy. In real life, a paycheck becomes grocery spending, and grocery spending becomes store revenue. The pressure comes from this. Money does not usually stop after one transaction. The result can be it keeps moving between households, businesses, government, and banks. Households earn income by providing labor. Think of a worker receives wages from a company. The process works because the business gets productive effort while the household gets money. Over time, that income becomes the starting point for later spending. Businesses earn revenue when households buy goods and services. A simple case is this. A family pays for food, rent, transport, and internet. The important driver is that those payments become sales for firms. That is why the household a €S expense is the business a €S income. The basic loop is simple. You might see it when households provide resources, businesses provide products, and money moves in the opposite direction. What matters underneath is that real goods and services flow one way while payments flow the other. If it is ignored, the model helps connect daily transactions. Savings create a leak from immediate spending. One ordinary version is a household puts part of income in a bank instead of spending it today. The mechanism is that money leaves the simple shopping loop. The practical effect is but it can re-enter through loans and investment. Investment brings money back into production. Consider a bank lends savings to a business buying new equipment. The hidden part is that saved income becomes capital for expansion. The outcome is often that the flow continues through construction, hiring, and future production. Government collects taxes. The pattern shows up when income tax, sales tax, and business taxes redirect money from private hands to public budgets. The moving force is that taxes reduce some private spending but fund public services. The risk is that the flow changes route rather than disappearing. Government spending injects money. In a daily situation, teacher salaries, road projects, benefits, and defense contracts send money back into households and firms. The link is that public spending becomes someone a €S income. Once that link matters, the effect depends on where and how the money is spent. Imports send money outward. The clearest example is buying a foreign-made phone pays companies and workers abroad. The explanation starts with some domestic income leaves the local circular flow. The consequence is imports give consumers products but change where income lands. Exports bring money inward. For example, selling software, tourism, food, or machinery to other countries brings foreign spending into the economy. The reason is that outside demand supports domestic revenue. That can mean exports can strengthen jobs and business income. Banks and financial markets connect savers and borrowers. In real life, a pension fund may invest in companies that hire workers. The pressure comes from this. Financial flows turn stored money into productive use. The result can be weak credit conditions can slow the circle. When households spend less, the circle slows. Think of families delaying purchases reduce business revenue. The process works because businesses may then cut hours, orders, or hiring. Over time, one cautious decision can multiply through the system. When businesses invest more, the circle can speed up. A simple case is this. New factories, software, or stores create payments to workers and suppliers. The important driver is that investment increases activity before final products are even sold. That is why future expectations shape present flows. Inflation changes the size of the money flow. You might see it when more money may move through the system while each unit buys less. What matters underneath is that nominal spending can rise without real living standards improving. If it is ignored, the circular flow must be read with prices in mind. The model is simplified. One ordinary version is it cannot capture every contract, delay, debt, or informal exchange. The mechanism is that real economies are messier than diagrams. The practical effect is the model still helps reveal why one sector Euro-S change affects another. Debt creates time-shifted flows. Consider a household buys today with future income, or a business expands with borrowed money. The hidden part is that repayments later pull money away from other spending. The outcome is often that credit can accelerate activity and later constrain it. Confidence influences the flow. The pattern shows up when people spend and invest more when they expect stable income. The moving force is that fear makes them hold cash and reduce commitments. The risk is that money can slow even when it physically exists. The circular flow connects micro choices to macro outcomes. In a daily situation, one family Euro-S purchase is small, but millions of similar choices shape employment and production. The link is that the model turns scattered transactions into a visible system. Once that link matters, daily spending becomes part of national income. A healthy flow needs balance. The clearest example is too little spending can weaken jobs, while too much demand can strain supply and raise prices. The explanation starts with banks, firms, households, and government all affect that balance. The consequence is the economy adjusts through many linked channels. Circular flow of money becomes clearer when it is tested in ordinary life. Take salary paid by employer. The point is visible in a salary paid by an employer. The choice changes because the circular flow of money changes the pressure around the decision. What matters is the real consequence for the people involved, not just the clean definition of the circular flow of money. When the example is concrete, circular flow of money stops sounding abstract and starts looking like something people deal with in real conversations, bills, deadlines, and relationships. Another useful angle is rent becoming landlord income. Rent becoming a landlord Euro-S income shows how one background condition can change the outcome before anyone calls it a big event. For the circular flow, the hidden force is movement. Money leaving one pocket and becoming income somewhere else. Once that movement is visible, rent, wages, loans, taxes, and purchases form a connected map. The circular flow is easiest to understand by following one payment as it becomes income, spending, revenue, wages, and then spending again. A shallow reading looks at one transaction and misses the next person affected by it. In the case of tax-funding public services, the final result may look simple from the outside, but the pressure was already building before anyone noticed it. Better judgment starts by tracing the second and third step after money changes hands. A practical example is bank loans supporting business expansion. The practical point is not to memorize a slogan about the circular flow of money. The practical point is to understand why a slowdown in one part of the loop can spread. That contrast explains why one payment rarely stops with the first receiver. Most confusion around circular flow of money comes from missing that hidden exchange and focusing only on the surface event. The circular flow shows why one persona Euro-S spending can become another persona Euro-S income. When the loop slows, the effects spread beyond the first transaction. A final example, customer spending becoming wages, shows why this matters before the outcome becomes expensive, stressful, or emotionally charged. The strongest takeaway is to trace the flow instead of staring at one transaction. The practical point is to understand why a slowdown in one part of the loop can spread. Once those parts are visible, circular flow of money becomes less mysterious and much easier to handle in daily life.